Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
I'm delighted to be joined by Labour's Angela Eagle. Angela, you precipitated the Labour leadership election by being the first courageous person to stand, but it has ultimately reinforced Jeremy Corbyn's strength within the party. Do you regret that you forced the issue?
Well, no. I think two things have happened over summer. One is that we've had a complete change of government, a new Prime Minister, and the Eurosceptics are now a very big force in the actual cabinet. And we can see already the issues and the problems that that's beginning to cause
but why is that
in
relevant?
the government.
Why is that relevant to your
and the
decision to
second
stand?
thing that happened is that our leadership election was mainly about personalities, as it turned out, when I think that we needed to have a leadership election about policy. At the moment, we are appealing to our core vote, but we're not being able to appeal beyond that, and you can see that from some of the polling. And I think the key thing now for the Labour Party...
But can I just ask, because sorry to press you on this point,
Yep.
You thought that Jeremy Corbyn was the wrong leader before you stood. He's now more powerful. Why, therefore, do you not accept that, in a sense, you made a mistake?
Well, you can't anticipate what's going to happen in the future when you do something in politics. We've had that discussion. We had that issue over summer. The party have made a decision, and it's one that I absolutely accept. I wanted to go back and talk about what I think that is the real thing that we need to do now, and that is to talk about how we deal with the near future issues that are going to be facing our society. I think the EU referendum...
I absolutely do want to talk to you. Absolutely, but there's just one more sort of issue
Yep.
on this, which I do need to ask you about. You had momentum when it was clear that you were going to run, and then Tom Watson persuaded you to wait before declaring. Quite a lot of people think if he hadn't persuaded you to wait, you know, you'd have done rather better than Owen Smith and you would have been the candidate. Do you blame Tom Watson?
I don't blame anybody. I'm not one of those people in politics that thinks obsessively about what's happened in the past. I think that we need to look forward and solve the problems of the future, and I accept the decision that Labour Party members made. So I think the important thing for the party now is to look at how we deal with the issues that...
So what is your role now as a... You're not going to work on the front bench with Jeremy Corbyn. What is your role now?
Well, I think that we've got a very experienced load of people on the backbench who have more time than they would have if they were doing frontline duties, to think about the key things that I think we now need to think about as a party. And
is that undermining of Jeremy Corbyn?
No, no, no. This is... We will never be able to return to government if we don't answer the questions that face people in their everyday lives and appeal to them. We need to modernise our view of how we deal with the issues that are going on in our economy. Let me just
prioritise those questions for me.
Well, let me just say, I think that we're on the cusp of this fourth industrial revolution, which is going to transform the way our labour market works. People are going to lose their jobs to automation. Artificial intelligence is going to be an important thing. People are having their work already distributed to them by algorithms, if we think of the Deliveroo drivers and the gig economy. That changes the relationship between employee and employer. And it also means that the state has got to change very much the way in which it responds to the needs that people have in the labour market. So I think that what we've got to do now is look at these near future problems, how they affect people. How are we going to make certain that the people who work get a reasonable result for the work they do, rather than the people who own? And that issue is getting worse and worse, and it's leading to very unequal societies. So we need to look at the role of the state in ensuring that those who work get a reasonable reward, that we can create a society in the future which is sustainable socially as well as environmentally in these new circumstances. When the Labour Party can answer questions like that, we will appeal far beyond our base and will be in attention for returning to government again. And what I want to do...
But what you're implying is that those on the front bench aren't capable of answering those questions.
I'm not implying that at all. I've been on the front bench for many years, both as a minister and in opposition, and you do not have time to think about the implications of some of these things when you're dealing with the day-to-day politics that happens.
Now, can I just
You've
ask
got a statement about this, you've got to deal with an urgent question about the other. You don't get to think about the bigger issues. So the luxury for somebody like me now is I have got time to think about those issues, and I want to make positive contribution to the debate on those issues, which will get us back into government if we come up with the right responses for the people of Britain.
On another very important issue, a man who made a death threat directed at you did not get a custodial sentence last week when found guilty. Do you think that was the wrong decision?
Well, I can't second guess the courts. I think it's important that those who are doing the work of making our democracy work by standing for public office are given protection, and I'm glad that this death threat was taken as seriously as it should have been.
And within your own constituency, I mean, you faced the most terrible abuse and indeed, you know, brick through a window, frankly, implications that you're probably not as safe as we would hope all our MPs are. What's gone wrong?
Well, I think there have been some nasty, difficult things happened over the summer, and it's affected my staff as well as me, and it's important that those things are properly dealt with. And I've been grateful for the support of colleagues, including Jeremy, by the way, who was very supportive.
Do you think Jeremy is tough enough on getting out of the party people who behave in this abusive and dangerous way?
It's not acceptable in the Labour Party, but it's going on all over the place. Look at what happened when Diane Abbott was made Home Secretary. She had a barrage of misogynistic and racist abuse, which is a disgrace. Look what's happened after the EU referendum, a 41% increase in 1 month in hate crimes. This politics of grievance and anger, it needs to be answered by proper, appropriate policies, but it's not acceptable for our public discourse to be disfigured and ruined in this way.
Angela Eagle, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
I've been